Well, welcome to the final data science lunch and learn of the spring semester. And we saved a treat for you. I'm really excited about our speaker. Actually, it's a speaker and her entire team today.
Not my entire team, but a couple of really smart people.
We all do it. We buy stuff. When you go to a grocery store, a department store, whether you sell or buy a car online, or you go to Amazon, we're consumers of retail companies, retail and CPG, consumer packaged goods. When I was at SAS, we had a business unit dedicated just for software for the retail industry. Because there is an amazing amount of advanced analytics, optimization, and now AI happening in retail to figure out how many jeans, what size has to go on what shelf, in what store, at what price. Fulfillment, assortment planning, markdown optimization, all of that. All that involves advanced analytics and AI. And the leader of that team was Lori Schafer. Lori now has her own company, CEO of Digital Wave Technology, a software company that does products for the retail and the CPG space. And you'll find out in just a second all the cool stuff they're doing. What impressed me about Digital Wave Technology and Lori's work is when everybody's talking about AI, generative AI, they're doing it. Everybody says be data driven. Well, they put data science into the product. They have Gen AI in the product. So what does it actually mean? Well, the rubber meets the road when you step out from playing with ChatGPT and actually incorporate into a product your customers are paying for. So I thought, with all our interest in data science and AI, talking to a company that actually does it, puts it in a product, and incorporates it in such an innovative way, would be a treat for us to hear a little bit from Lori and her team. And so, Lori, thank you so much for doing this. She told me she had 44 meetings in the last 4 days. The last time I spoke to her was last week. She was just on the way to fly to Mexico City to meet a customer. I was at a conference, just taking time out. She was part of the team to speak to us for this hour. Lori, we're grateful for you to doing this. The floor is yours.
Okay, thank you, Oliver. First of all, can everyone in the room hear me okay? Just raise your hand. Yeah. Am I clear? Yes? Okay. All right. One thing that might help is if we could just show hands, how many are grad students? 1, 2, 1. And how many are professors? Excellent. Okay. That just helps myself and our team get a better understanding of who it is that we're chatting with. So first of all, good afternoon. I'm Lori Schafer, and I'm the CEO of Digital Wave Technology. We are a company that is highly innovative and helps retailers and consumer brands, frankly, make more money. That's what we're about. And in the world of business, unless you're in government, it is, or in nonprofit like yourselves, it is a world where businesses have to thrive to survive. And that's what we're using data science in all types, forms, to be able to help our customers, who are retailers and brands, frankly, make more money and keep their customers really happy, because it's a very competitive world out there. So that's a little bit about what we do. Max, is going to be advancing the slides, and then he's going to be doing an awesome demonstration in a little while. So with me are 2 individuals that will be speaking, 3 individuals total. It looks like from the list of participants. So with myself is Max Bruni, and Max is head of our product strategy group. He is the one that really has to make the products that we deliver using data science meet business needs. Because frankly, data science without having a practical application is not worth much. But with a practical application, it's incredibly powerful and frankly, an incredibly demanding and exciting opportunity for data scientists that are out in the business world. Also, Arkady Gurovich Arkady is our chief data scientist. He has a team of data scientists that work for him, and their job is to find and write the most fit models for purpose. So that's what they will both be talking today. And then Dan Mitchell, who is someone else that recently joined us, and so he is on to learn. So hopefully this will be very educational. Next slide, Max. So Oliver kind of stole my thunder, but that's okay. What do all these things have in common? Anybody want to raise their hand? And you're not allowed to say they all say Virginia Tech. Somebody shout out the answer. What else? What do they have in common?
We consume them.
We consume them. That's right. They're products. And every retailer on the planet, whether they sell high-end fashion like Neiman Marcus or Nordstrom, or whether they sell groceries, or whether they sell luggage, or they sell apparel or wristwatches or home furnishings, they all sell products. And consumer product companies, whether it be, again, companies like Tapestry that makes Coach and Kate Spade and all kind of accessories for women and men, whether they make handbags or whether they make cans of soup, all those companies supply consumer products to us, and that is the group of companies that we work with. Next slide, please. So real quickly, we're going to cover who Digital Wave Technology is, a little bit about our journey, in the sense of who we are and how long we've been around and how we got started. We'll talk then quickly about our technology, our platform, and our solutions. We're going to give a live demonstration of generative AI and also how we are able to take data science and technology development and business users and be able to innovate right online and see the progress within minutes. Then we'll just talk quickly about our value that we provide our customers, because again, if we can't provide value, we're not in business. So we are, as a company, we're all about making sure that when we go into a company, we're either going to do one of a few things: improve margins, improve their profitability, or improve their sales, or make their customers more satisfied, the things like that. And then we'll go Q&A. And if you want to do Q&A throughout, we can adapt this however you wish. So we just want this to be interactive. Next slide, please. So again, what we do is we combine domain experience, and domain experience means practical business people that really understand either an area of business. It could be a vertical like retail and consumer goods, financial services, gas and oil. Those are all areas where you have practical domain experience. We happen to right now be very focused on retail, consumer goods, and by the way, also healthcare, because guess what healthcare has? Products, lots of products. I'm right now at the National Association of Chain Drugstore conference in Palm Beach, Florida. And it's all of the retailers that sell drugs, over-the-counter drugs, as well as behind-the-counter medication, as well as those that supply those types of pharmaceuticals to the different drug chains. And what we do is we really help these companies at an enterprise level, so very large software implementations, position themselves for the future and make sure that we want to give them a competitive edge. That's what we're all about. Next slide. So who we are. We're made up of two types of people. First of all, we all have a background in data science. We may not all be data scientists, but we all have a background in selling and implementing and making data science work for business. So that's first and foremost who we are. We also, our data scientists have very strong pedigrees. You'll see that with Arkady. He'll talk for a little bit. We are very committed to our customers because one of our competitive advantages is that we understand our customers' businesses. We make sure that we continue to deliver to them. By doing that, meaning that we go in, we stay with them for years on end. What it does is it makes us very sticky, and that really helps our business grow. We are extremely focused on the most recent innovations in both data science and in software architecture to make sure we are giving our customers the best competitive edge for their future. Next slide, please. So some of the things that we do, again, Oliver touched on this briefly, but in the world of retail and consumer brands, and even pharmaceuticals, it's all about the 4 Ps: product, price, placement, and promotion. And if you don't get those right, you're not going to succeed as a retailer or as a consumer brand. So we'll think about digital wave technology. We focus on all things product, everything about a product. So that goes from content creation, literally the descriptions that you find about a product on a website, the attributes that are assigned to a product so that you can find them easy in searching for them, the pricing, optimizing the price points for those products to make sure they're at the optimal price for the particular region of the country or online based on consumer demand. You want to have the price point be just right so that people, first of all, buy the product, but at the same time, so that you're not underpriced or overpriced, because you want to make sure you maximize the gross margin. So oftentimes retailers, what they do is they have sales, right? And they discount. And 90% of the time they do it like this. And they don't use data science. What we do is we use data science to be able to optimize the price point so that instead of saying all of our products are now 30% off because that sounds nice, maybe they only need to be 16 or 17% off. Maybe you can even optimize the clearance by product. But the point of it is every time you price a product too low, you're losing margin as a retailer. So that's one of the things that we do. We also look at promotions, and we ensure that the products we have, when we promote them, are, again, priced appropriately for promotions, and make sure that we don't end up with a low margin or out of stocks, and that results in disappointed customers. Inventory. Excess inventory and out of stocks come from not having the right inventory for the demand. So we do a lot of things around demand forecasting. And also placement. If the products aren't in the right place in a store, and it could be the digital shelf, which is online, then again, it's going to result in lost sales. Or if you give the product too much space, especially in a store, you're going to result in a lot of overstocks. Overstocks means too much inventory. Too much inventory means you're tying up precious funds that you can be using to grow your business instead of having too much product sitting around that you paid for. So in summary, there is a lot of data science in what we do. In fact, pretty much everything we do has a data science model or models to do what we do effectively. Next slide. So some of our customers, we work with very large customers. Some of the companies that we work with, for example, the largest distributor of luxury fashion. We work with companies like Neiman Marcus. I just came from a company in Mexico City you may have heard of, El Palacio de Hierro, which is the most prestigious fashion department store in the world. We work with companies like McKesson, which is the largest pharmacy company in the world, $300 billion in revenue. We work with companies like Home Depot, like Aldi, like M&M Mars, who is a large consumer goods company, like Samsonite, the world's largest travel luggage company, and also home furnishings companies. We also work with smaller companies. So we define our market space as between $1 billion and now up to $300 billion. So it's what we call the enterprise space. What does that mean? It means that when we deliver software, it has to work. And we have to be on call 24/7 because we literally run the businesses of our customers. We are mission critical software. We had one of our large customers in the fashion industry had to go through bankruptcy a few years ago, and they emerged fine. But during bankruptcy, the courts actually said digital wave technology has to continue to be paid because without it, the company would not survive. So it gives you an idea of how mission critical data science can be. Next slide, please. Okay, so as I mentioned, we are really focused on value for our customers. We either improve their margin by tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of dollars. We improve their revenue by a certain percentage, or we reduce their inventory costs, or we ensure that they get their products to market faster. Those are really the key things that we do. Again, we're an enterprise grade product, and we have a very unique architecture for today's environment. I'll speak on that very quickly, and then I want to turn it over to Max so you can see the product, and then we'll open it up for questions. So first of all, our platform. As Oliver mentioned, I actually work for Oliver at SAS. Phenomenal individual you have there. Oliver, not only a great data scientist and technologist, but also understood the value that data science can bring for business. And I learned a lot also from being with SAS and being with some other companies. And the reason I wanted to create Digital Wave was I wanted a very agile company that would be able to move at the speed the technology is now moving and be able to apply the best and the latest for our customers. So what we start with, before we even talk business, is we have what we call the one platform. It's one platform. Think of it as master data management. All the master data you possibly could need for your business. One platform means one data model and one version of the truth. All too often, large companies have a lot of legacy systems, and they have to integrate them. And they're not even in the latest technology. They're not API driven, for example. And so we work with a lot of companies where we have to pull in data from all different resources. We're able to do that on an analytical database, one model, and then what we have, which is really unique at this point in the industry, in fact, we're the only ones that have it, is we have what we call a data science lab, where we are able to have an agnostic approach. We can use any AI or generative AI model or models and combine them into any one of our many applications. And our data scientists can make changes on the fly and let the business users see. For example, if they want to change out a model, they're able to sit there with the business user and be able to quickly prototype within minutes or hours what that change is. As Oliver said when he first saw it, it's like, wow, the whole data science process with the end user, we're getting it down to a few clicks, and that's really exciting. And then we have what we call rapid application development. And what we mean by that is that all of our applications, again, are geared towards our business users. Right now, we're very focused on all the business applications that a retailer or a consumer goods company would need. And the beauty of what we do is that as we build the applications, most of the code, most of the source code is going to be able to be reused. Some of it not so much, but I would say 80% of the source code, things like sorting, things like reporting, some of our workflow, all of our, in fact, our workflow capabilities that goes across different applications, all that is built into the platform. So that when we build enterprise solutions, we're able to build them in somewhere between a fifth and a tenth of the time of other software companies. The other thing is we allow our customers to build applications on top of our platform. And again, the beauty of the platform, analytical data model, not a transactional data model. And we're able to be agnostic, and we will use any or all generative AI and AI models that make sense for our business solutions. And lastly, before I pause and turn it, let you ask questions, and then Max will do a demo, is that we have a number of solutions pre-built. And what we mean by that is that we go in and we have something called product information management, master data management, where we are able to query bring in all of the product content from different systems, be able to enrich that content. And Max will show you what we mean by that. Enriching the content. Think about a website. Think about on a website, like if you go to Follett college bookstores for Virginia Tech, every single item has to have a description that is meaningful. It has to have all the different product attributes. What color is it? What size is it? What flavors, if it's some sort of food, for example, many different attributes. And all that has to be hand entered. And right now in today's world, it's all manual. And what we do is we automate that through generative AI. So very exciting. Other companies on the market right now, they don't use generative AI, and they are still requiring their users to manually enter all that critical data. And as Oliver mentioned, figuring out which products to carry, optimal assortments, how to price products through the base price or regular price, through promotion, through markdown. That's using, again, a lot of data science. Deal management. How do we negotiate deals between the vendor and the retailer? And again, applying a lot of data science in that process to maximize. It's a negotiation tactic, and you've got to be able to look at, gee, how much should I charge? And on the other side of the table, how much should I pay for this product based on how well it's going to do? And we're adding more and more solutions. On the right side, we have what we call our generative AI solutions. So as I mentioned, copywriting. When you talk about a product and you are a brand, a consumer brand, you're very particular about the way you talk about that product. It's called your brand voice. So for example, if I am a company like like Tapestry, who owns Coach, Kate Spade, now Michael Kors, etc., they are very particular about the way they talk about their product. It has to be in either first person or maybe third person. You can't use certain words. You have to use other types of words. And what we do now is we are able to train the model very quickly to be able to write all the content in their specific brand voice. We also can train the models to automatically attribute the products. And Max is going to show you some of this. Also, we can do generative AI advertising where we create a digital ad. Companies like M&M Mars are using us to do that today. So that's a little bit about what we do. Next slide, Max. I'll skip by this. This is just a business process that we do. And what we're going to talk about now is how we are able to collaborate between data scientists and the business all in one very quick process. And you will see that in the product. And this is, at this point in time, I'm going to ask if there's any questions, but I really want to get to the demonstration as quickly as possible, because I think that's where your eyes are going to light up. Any questions before we start?
I have a quick question, Lori. When you use generative AI tools, is it a little bit like developing in quicksand when the underlying models constantly change?
Yeah.
People is for your generated content, images and text?
It's constantly changing, Oliver. Arkady and Max will speak now and tell you they're every single day finding out what's changed out there. And Arkady's team has someone dedicated to just looking at every single model. What's new? How do we readapt? So yes, it is like developing in quicksand. That is why we have to be very expedient in our approach.
But your customer expects a stable product, right?
Yes, they do. And so we will stick with a model. We even have we're developing our own large language model as well, because we're finding, okay, on certain things, we're able to develop that large language model for certain types of text, and it doesn't make sense to continually change out for the customer. So we're trying to get as stable as we can, as fast as we can. But at the same time, we want to be on the leading edge, because we have a huge competitive advantage right now, because we are using in real life all of these models for business applications.
So I'll add a little bit more to that.
Sure, please go
We're
ahead,
going to
Max.
get into the demonstration. So you're absolutely correct. New technologies are coming available all the time. As Arkady and I meet every couple of days, you know, we're learning about new technologies, and we minimize, I call it thrashing, when you don't want to give customers too much information and change their business processes. We do have release cycles that we control how our customers experience the new technologies. But like one example, when LLMs first came out, the generative AI first came out, we were generating incredible descriptions of products, and I'm going to get in and show you. And then a handful of months ago, those technologies said, we don't need you to give us as much description in the prompt. You can now send us a picture. And then we'll turn around and give you some incredible content. Arkady and I have a conversation a couple of days later. He says, it's available for you. This is how we're going to do it. And we introduce it to our customers through the consultative component that says, if you want to get more out of the investment you've made, now you can take advantage of X, Y, and Z, and we'll go through that process. But you're right, the technology is changing every day. It's probably changing faster in the LLMs that are generating digital assets, and we're going to go through that, and we're coming up with great business ideas. But it's absolutely, but it's all because of the platform. The slide here, it's about having a platform that allows me, I'm going to play the business role, and Arkady as the data scientist to sit in one place, and sometimes within minutes, sometimes within a day, sometimes within a week, we come up with an idea and we visualize it. And he asked me the question, the famous words, is this what you meant? And it's incredible to be able to do that side by side in days instead of weeks, and a lot of times in hours instead of weeks as we go through. I'm going to start first with an example of what Lori was saying. Let's just put things in perspective of what do we mean by how are we providing value. These are actual websites from our existing customers. And we utilize this generative AI technologies, both regular artificial intelligence as we know it, machine learning, but I'm going to focus more on the generative AI component, the content generation, content identification. So customers like Coach, everybody understands Coach, utilize our platform. When a new handbag is introduced, having generative AI automatically say that this is a handbag, and because of the characteristics, it should automatically be placed on the website under women's handbags and other places on the website. For folks that aren't familiar with this process, it's always a manual process or some rules-based process, and understanding shoppers' behaviors, we're able to recommend and take the power out and really take the onus of this is where you're going to get your biggest bang for your buck by showcasing it in places on a customer's website. Similarly, when we talk about content generation, I'm going to focus the rest of this time strictly on content generation. Because of this product, because of information provided from the PLM, the softwares where they design the products, we're able to generate written words, a description. Lori mentioned copywriting, writing the descriptions for individual products, lightning fast, milliseconds to go through that process, very tailored to the products themselves, as well as being able to format and manage the information on the site exactly how the customer represents. What makes this so unique is we're able to do it in Spanish, in English, and then translate it to French and Spanish and other languages. I pulled up the same products in two, and generative AI allows us to use a technology saving thousands of dollars from translation services to put things into the format and the information that they want, and translate the text beforehand and write it in the native language versus just translate the text, which is what a lot of the retailers do, saving a ton of time and money through the process, all through building automation through the process.
So Max, was this from an image, or how did the text get produced?
That's a very good question. I'm going to go into it because we utilize the image to generate a lot of the attributes. And then we send the image along with the attributes into generative AI. So it's when Lori uses the term daisy chaining, she used it earlier. It's using technologies like neural networks, computer vision, generative AI, and then using the callback service to validate information to eliminate hallucinations. So it's a combination of things. In this example, we're using the image and attributes that were formulated off of the image and other data to put into the engine, and I'll show you. And this is a great story because when Arkady and I were sitting about a year ago with Coach, they were talking to us, and the copywriters are saying, "Oh no, this is never going to happen. You're never going to be able to recreate it." We went back a couple of weeks later as we listened to them and worked through the prompt engineering. They're like, At that moment, Arkady and I knew we had them because we're able to formulate. It went from no way to not bad, all through the software. And it's not just for fashion. I'm going to provide examples on grocery as well. The grocery sector is the last one to come forward to have actual websites that allow me to shop if I have a gluten-free, if I have a son with gluten-free, to expand his assortment, expand the things to truly be able to shop. Groceries trying to understand attributes, and I'm going to show you both of those examples here because it's taking images, it's taking information from vendors and deciphering and really putting it down to what it needs to make that data valuable as we go through. This is our user interface. I'm going to show you the first example, attribution. Our user interface is tailored to the business users that allows us to search through the normal hierarchy that you would in the retail. We give them the ability to search and find things, but it's all exception based. In this example, I'm looking at a shirt and I just want to understand the neckline, the pattern, the sleeve length. And generative AI, we utilize the images, we utilize information. These are more examples about neural networks that we built, and then utilizing Gen AI to validate, to ensure the information is valid through the process. Users work by example that we provide feedback to the users. And the beauty about Gen AI, generating content is the #1 objective. #2 objective is validation. Is the data accurate that I've already entered through the process? So we notify our users. I'm going to zoom in just a tiny bit here. If it's green, it tells us we agree. What the system has in its current state from the vendor or the users, we agree. Orange tells us it was a hole in your data. So as people are searching through your site or through Google, they won't find your products because it's not populated. And if it's red, it's examples of, hey, what is it that's different than what we have versus they have a zipper versus button, if it's solid versus print, through that process that the engine is telling you, you may want to take a second look. So we manage by exceptions.
I think that if I can just, Max, say, you would be amazed at massive companies, the size of Home Depot, how many errors are in their data because it's humans entering it. And oftentimes the suppliers to that retailer send in the data. There's misspellings. There's literally blanks in the data. And so generative AI is able to very quickly scan and fill in those blanks so that what does that mean? What it ends up happening is then your product's going to be found on search engine optimization. If that attribute's not there, consumers won't find it, and you will lose it's lost sales.
Gen AI kind of landed to us, and the ability to generate attributes easier it became available a couple of years ago. When Google said, when you're on a website, we're no longer going to look at the tags behind the pages, the meta description, meta title on how it identifies pages and products. It looks at actually what's on the page to actually identify and find products. And all these retailers and wholesalers and brands are like, but I don't have my attributes to actually describe the product well of how people shop. And that's where we come in and we help them. Another example here is, let's just take grocery. And this example, as Lori said about Home Depot and the how many products have holes. This right here is just taking packaging information, being able to run it through a computer vision neural network type models to extract all the data, put it into generative AI models to say, make sense of the data, format it on how I need to utilize the data, run it through the callback service that says, the data that you provided to me, is it available in the source data to make sure it's accurate and it's available? And you'd be amazed that the amount of information we're able to pull from all of this packaging, whether it's a straight, clear packaging, and the value we're providing to our customers as we go through this, to be able to extract and then make those realities, those websites, and additional insight and talk about the products through the availability of the data. So generating content, it's all about attribution. And it's also about generating product descriptions as we go through, and I'll move into that. Are there any questions about attributions? I know we've only got about another 10, 12 minutes to go through this, and we can talk about this for hours, but just kind of trying to showcase a handful of different use cases.
So my question was related to your data platform. So there are other data lakes like Databricks, Confluent, and platforms that are out there. So how much your platform is similar or different from them? And can your second phase, like I think the data analytics platform, can be used along with another platform?
Yes. So great question. I'll just quickly say, we've looked at Snowflake and Databricks and so forth. Those are mostly BI platforms, business intelligence. The big difference with ours is it is a rapid development platform for business applications. So literally the software solutions sit on our platform so that either we as a digital wave technology or our customers can rapidly develop business process solutions on the platform. That is a very big difference. We can, through API connectivity or other types of integration, we can quickly tap into any other solution or software out there, such as Databricks. So either or, but the point is, a Databricks is not going to allow you to have the business solutions that are needed on top of the data.
Yeah, thank you.
And the ability to extend the platform to do more, extend the database and everything. And it's all AI enabled bottom up. Second use case is content generation as it relates to the actual written descriptions, whether you're generating the bulleted list or just the regular copywriting as we go through. Everybody's used Gen AI. Everybody knows that the how you ask the question directly reflects the quality of the results. When I talk about coach, how are we able to write in their voice with the information that they want, with their very, very, very strict business requirements? Because we put a pretty interface into what ultimately turns into an incredible prompt that we engage with these generative AI solutions. And depending on the Gen AI engine we're utilizing, the information's formatted and used differently. It's where we become the prompt engineers. But from a business perspective, tell us in written language, whichever language that is. I wrote it here, translated in Spanish. You can write it in Spanish and it understands it. What is it that you're trying to accomplish? Who is it that I'm representing to try to understand and build that brand voice? What are the very strict rules I must follow? In this example, you must use the brand name and product name in the first sentence. This is how we start ensuring that the style guides that they're used to writing in are being adhered to. And this is, you set up a template that then you're able to do this for thousands and thousands and thousands of items very, very quickly because it utilizes the information tailored down to the individual brands. And then you can provide examples and other information and SEO keywords. So we generate this.
If I can just jump in quickly. So you might say, well, gee, that doesn't seem like it's that much easier. But when you are a retailer and you have 6 million items like Neiman Marcus or Follett, who owns your college bookstore, and they are in every practically every college in the country, and they have 16 million items, and they have to constantly change out the descriptions and the attributes. It's an enormous task. And these companies have sometimes dozens of copywriters that's all they do is write.
Yeah. And the system will utilize all the requirements and give you something that's very, very close to what you're looking for, if not exactly. And then we
Can I-
utilize the examples that are provided and approved and utilized as examples for the future. And it's continuously learning and getting better and better and better as we go through that process. It's pretty incredible what we've done, becoming prompt engineer experts, knowing how many times to repeat specific phrases as we go through.
So are you use natural language understanding to grab the input from the UI and then turn it into a prompt?
So those settings that we were just walking through, this is how the setting became tailored to the individual product. And then we turned this into an incredible prompt behind the scenes that we engage with the different LLMs. So
But
the user,
parsing is some form of AI too, right? Like parsing rules.
Arkady, you want to address a little bit of the how we're doing that? Because this
Yeah.
is
So I would like to provide some idea that so we are doing also reverse engineering. Like we have already set of product descriptions that customer has already, and we are able to extract this knowledge, extract the rules that or some special words or that are using already on these descriptions. So it's a kind of iterative process. So we take and trying to extract knowledge from existing product descriptions and put it as a rules. Automatically. And also we take into account style guides that the company has. So every big company has a special, book how they would like to have the product descriptions based on collection or some brand voice and so on. So we know in this business that they have this book, but practically that their descriptions are far from this book. So we are helping them from one side populate these rules in our system, taking into account the style book, and also enrich these rules by the existing knowledge from existing descriptions.
So I go in and change those rules, like always speak in third person, change them live, and it would generate a new description for me.
yes.
Yes.
Wow.
Yep. I'm going to show one more. I'm looking at time closely. And in this example, I'm going to show it in a couple different ways. So we've got the ability to generate voice of the customer. So on a regular website, you capture all these customer reviews. I like this product. I hate this product. The buttons fell off. I don't like the zipper. It gets stuck. All this great information about the product. Most companies aren't doing anything with it. They kind of see it. They don't. Through APIs, we're able to pull that information in off of their websites and summarize it based on their needs very, very quickly, utilizing the generative AI. I feel like Amazon stole our idea. We've been doing this for a long time, but now I see that whenever you go to a product, they have a summary of it. It's a very similar use case here. But what's great about this is I'm going to flip over to the data science platform. In order to make something like that happen, this is where an integrated data science platform allows data scientists to work side by side. In this example, we connect, we ask the questions, we do a whole bunch of things. Like this is all the code needed to generate that entire use case. I can change the questions here, and within the user interface, we can re-execute and change it. This is an integrated environment. Arkady and I worked on this for about a day to get the full infrastructure together. Is this what you meant? No, I want to be able to do this and this, and I want to get this type of information. He'd make it work. And this is an entire use case that adds tremendous value that took us about 2 days to put together with the platform. And this is the ability for now, not only do I have a ton of data, because retailers aren't lacking data. CPG companies aren't lacking data. They're lacking insight into the data. And what we're able to do is pull that insight into be meaningful. Third and final use case, which is another use case worked through a similar process that we've been going through, is the advertising. Lori said we've got Mars, utilizing generative AI LLMs to allow us to generate some incredible advertising, generating assets. Oh, let me going through that process. Assets like, give me a golden retriever, understanding for this, for a crunch they'll love and healthy, you'll see. Going through the different products and understanding the type of ads and advertisements that we can work through, the realistic, to really two things. One, advertisements that they can use on the web pages for above and below the fold on product listing pages. Two, actual advertisements that they publish. Three, if they're not ready to take the actual full generated AI, along with the packaging around there, the messaging, they can use these for startup ideas to shrink the time it takes them for a new marketing campaign from months to weeks to start getting ideas as to what it could possibly be as a new marketing campaign. This use case is great. We're going through the process. We're able to utilize the same information, same platform, and kind of ask a handful of questions. Who is it that I'm targeting? Are you looking for National Dog Day, Love Your Pet Day, or is it just an everyday type campaign? And we tell the system to go ahead and generate information about, hey, tell me a story about this event. Give me a slogan, all real time, going out through APIs and hitting different LLMs to achieve the full capability. Yes, Lori?
So if I can just comment for a second here. So I'm at a trade event right now with CEOs and chief marketing officers and so forth of major retailers and brands. And so the 40 some meetings Oliver talked about, I'm introducing Digital Wave, and these major companies, you know, the Krogers of the world, Walmart, et cetera, along with Procter and Gamble and L'Oreal and companies like that. They've never seen anything like this. They are spending millions and millions of dollars and oftentimes can't keep up with advertisements that are personalized enough. And they'll continue to do to work with outsourcing to ad agencies, which are extremely expensive. They'll continue to do that for major changes and major events. But they have many what they call micro events. So in the case of M&M Mars, you know, Super Bowl, Mother's Day, Father's Days, those are micro events. They don't want to have to spend that kind of money for those events. And so this is allowing them to come up with the ad on the fly. Each ad's like a snowflake. It only happens once. If they want to keep it, they can save it. And when they save it, this generates out to a file, a layered file that can then be taken into something like Adobe and modified. So again, it's another use case. The value of this particular use case is dramatic time savings and millions of dollars saved on not having to use outside ad agencies for everything they do.
Thank you, Lori. That was a good 45 seconds to generate an image. You generate the story around the image, generate a slogan, which all editable, you can change, and then the image itself. It's pretty incredible, this technology, how quick it's coming along.
So with that, I want to pause and allow questions. We have about 9 minutes left, and this is now time for you to ask questions to us. It could be very technical or business. We can take either one.
I had two quick questions. Do you ever evaluate for bias?
Arkady?
Bias.
Bias
Yeah.
and work or visual bias, etc.
So, are you talking about demand forecasting? I'm trying to understand in which area.
No. Bias in the data,
In
Arkady.
the content generated,
Yeah.
yeah. In the
Okay.
content.
Okay. So, yeah, absolutely. So when we are working with customer data, originally that we have a lot of problems. So it can be just wrong. So it's a big problem. So when we are talking about data science, that data, it's very important, garbage in, garbage out. And I know a bunch of big projects that was failed because of the bad data, because data scientist who is working with the models, consumes the data, do not fully understand how this data was provided, how it was modified on the customer side. So it's very important to understand the whole chain, how original data was on the old-fashioned systems and how finally you receive. Is it, say, slice data, incremental data, or something like that? So without the knowledge of the full pipeline, how that you are receiving data, you can't create the good model. And as soon as you understand the whole data, then you make tons of tests understanding is it correct or not. So it's a different test. It's statistical test. It's just sit together with the customer and check, hey, it looks like the data is just wrong because I don't remember this and that. So we have some strong validation process to make sure that the data that we are consuming are correct.
My other question is, I'm sure Oliver's told you about our CMDA program, which is the greatest data science program in the country. But what I'm wondering is, how can we keep the kids getting jobs? What should we be training them in?
I'll start, and Arkady, you can finish. I'm going to start from a business perspective, which is, first of all, if you have any interns, tell them about us. So that's one way. Secondly, I think, the more that you can convince them that if they can learn business alongside data science, they're going to be a lot more valuable than if they just know data science. And the reason for that is because it's just a lot harder for companies like us to find people that can do both. Arkady and his whole team, they've done things like design IBM Watson and other, things like that in the past. So they know retail. They did Demand Tech, which is a price optimization company. So over the long haul, I would try to encourage the students. It's a challenge. They want to always do the latest thing. And we respect that as well. Arkady's constantly challenging his team with new innovation. But at the same time, it has to have value. It has to have value and purpose for the business world, or it's not going to, they're going to have a harder time, I think. Arkady, anything you'd add from a...
Yeah, so several cents about how important to be focused on business. For example, if we are talking about LLMs, so a year ago, we have one or two LLMs on the market available. Right now, we are checking and working with, say, 15 of them. And the price for each LLM if you can compare, can be, say, 10 times, 15 times. Some of LLMs can be cheaper. And if we are talking about the big customers and big amount of data that we have to process and get the results, we should also clearly understand how much it will cost finally for the company and for our clients. So we have to be very carefully understand which technology and when we would like to use, taking into account cost, which for sure affects the price for our customers. So returning back to your question about how we can, make our students better and so on. I highly recommend it to use Kaggle platform. I believe you have already heard about it. So in our company, we are doing some even not internal, we are participating in this Kaggle competition and trying to check the newest technology, which is not related even to retail. Like, okay, let's try to apply our data science knowledge for, say, fraud detection, or something like that. And it brings immediately back to the company the new technology libraries and knowledge of best results and so on from, totally different domain. We are taking it back to the company. So for students, it's very important to try to try the knowledge on true competition, and not only, I mean, post his solution, but check and validate the best one, understand why this or that person gets the gold medal or silver medal. So it boosts the education significantly.
Lori, can I follow up on your answer when you said the business? Do you mean the general understanding of how commercial companies think and organize and operate, or specifically domain knowledge in your case, the retail domain?
Yeah, so first of all, general understanding of business is going to be worth more than not having any understanding of business. Understanding how businesses work, how they, what are the drivers of a business, like revenue generation, profitability, gross margin improvement, inventory reduction. That's in every industry. And so the general business knowledge is a big plus. Domain knowledge, meaning specific business knowledge, is an even bigger plus. Because the more specialized you get, the rarer you are. So that does take time. Nobody's going to come out of school and be an expert in a certain domain, but what they can do is take business classes along with data science and start that journey. Max, go ahead. You were going to add something, I think.
Yeah, so what I would add is, from the perspective of the science, understanding the value that a specific algorithm or technology is going to provide that I'm targeting really helps validate the results. Sometimes you try things and they work, but without the actual value, whether it be business value or you're making something faster, truly understanding value is something that, as we work through with the data scientists that we have brought in interns, and that's where we spend time. The reason we're building this model and we're trying to come up with something new is because we're expecting specific value. And if there's no value in it, then it may not be worth pursuing in some areas.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that, sorry.
One-
Can I ask a question?
You have another question? Go ahead.
What are the computational and programming skills that you value in the company?
Arkady, you want to take that?
So I can provide you, information about current stack, but you know that in IT industry, it's changed a lot. So
What
you see-
programming skills do we have currently? Maybe start with that, and also what data science skills?
Yeah, so I would like to rephrase your question if it's possible. So in our data science team, we have different people with different skills. So some of them are really truly analytical. They love to read very sophisticated articles, the most recent articles, and understand the math. And they can check the new approach and bring some results. But sometimes they can't, make it this technology on production. They have very strong skills to find something new, cutting edge, and bring it to the company and show, hey, I found this and looks brilliant. But for them, it's way harder to put finally this technology in production. And we have another person in the company who has, okay, that I can do it, I understand it, I can finally put it and make this technology works, not only from my hands as a showcase, but the real real business values. And it's totally okay to have different people in your company. So some of them are focusing on cutting edge technologies. Some of them are focusing, to make it finally, hit the shelf, make it production ready. And the type of such person is very different.
And also very good architects, right?
Yeah. So
in the newest technology.
Understand technology very well. So the most brilliant data scientists that I work with. So, okay, for this data science library, we are missing this and that. If you understand how it's, designed internally, you get this from university or from, articles. You can just modify the original code, add some patch, and it's totally impossible if the student do not understand the core technology, how it's designed internally. So I, as in the company, we are really, I mean, treasure such people who can not only use the newest technology, but modify it, say, make it faster, added new features easily. So this is very important.
I don't know if there's any other questions. We want to respect your time. We can stay for a few more minutes, for 15 minutes if you want, but you tell us.
Well, everybody, if you have some place to go, please feel free. I would love to see, Arkady, I would love to see the data science lab in the product.
Let's bring it up.
How you use Python, or what, I think it was just Python notebook.
That was Python. I'll show it. Find my Zoom window.
And while Max is bringing that up,
This is the other example, Lori.
yeah, I just wanted to show too, while Max is bringing that up, just how fast we're innovating. We had one of the largest apparel retailers come to us and say, can you take a flat image of a shirt, as Max is highlighting now, and put it on a model and have it drape correctly depending on the way the model stands? And we've done that. Then they have come back and said, can you put an entire outfit on a model? And that is something that it's going to take us more time. It's going to actually take us to productionize in a few months. So I have been out researching, is there a big market for that? I've been told by a number of retailers here, the answer is yes, there's a huge market for that. Okay, if that's the case, then it's worth us taking several months to turn a prototype into reality. So the way we are coming up with new innovations is by listening to the customers on what they need. Go ahead, Arkady.
Only thing I'll
data
add,
science.
Lori, to yours is this is an AI generated person with the clothes put on it AI generated. So we created the model based on certain requirements. In this case, it was a female with long brown hair and kind of the pose. And then we turn around and put the garment on the model. All right, so let's go to the data science lab. So go ahead and this is the code for one of the notebooks. You want to walk us through, Arkady, or open up the questions?
I can just, yeah, I can give you some idea how we are work with data science code. So we have a set Jupyter notebooks which are really just integrated in our solution. So if you have a role of data scientist, you can able to observe them and modify them as soon as you, make an identification and save it. So potentially it's automatically update in your main product page. So at the same time, so in this test environment, we use just Jupyter notebooks, but on real production environment, we use Jupyter Hub. It can provide some more isolated infrastructure to make sure that if in some reason, so notebook that was broken, it not will affect other notebooks. And we really like this technology because you see, for the demo purposes, for when we work closer to the customer, we can sit together, virtually, so not necessary to sit at the same room, and modify our code and get the results. And this person who is already familiar with our solution will get the results immediately. So this is our approach here.
Do your customers go in and change the Python code themselves?
We can.
Say it again, customers.
The question, Arkady, was,
Yeah.
do our customers go in and change? They can change it or build their own.
So
Yeah.
it's dependent on the sophistication of the customer, Oliver. Some customers don't even know how to spell data science. Other customers like McKesson, they've already built applications on top of the platform using. So M&M Mars, 400 data scientists, they're using the platform to create their own generative AI applications. So either or.
So one question, so you have the assortment optimization, which is in the retail a very important problem, and in academia is a very rich literature and an ongoing domain. So what type of methodologies you use for assortment optimization, and do you do some academic collaborations, or you go for some of the recent research that is happening in that domain, because that's a major component in your product?
So we
So-
do both.
Yeah.
But go ahead, Max.
Yeah, so the assortment optimization it's incredible because with the use of this technologies, we're able to recommend assortments, and it is very specific to the customers. Can different areas, are they doing store clustering for the assortment that allows us to truly optimize the assortment for the north, the stores in the north versus stores in the south, to actually have different assortments that truly tailor to the individual customers that are shopping in those areas. So the techniques that we're using is a combination of the clustering component, understanding customer behavior so that we can group category by category specifically, floor space that's needed, as well as obviously the demand of how that's going to drive up according to the optimizing to the objectives of the assortment of, am I trying to maximize sales or maximize margin? What's the objective? And we're able to accomplish those. But we're definitely utilizing the traditional techniques as well as new techniques as we go through, and the level of sophistication that the customers allow us to get through based on their downstream systems is really the constraint on our side.
It's Arkady speaking. One more comment from my side. So about algorithms and investigations. So on the beginning of this meeting, we talk about LLMs and how we are using to generate something new, like product description or images or advertisement. So at the same time, we are also using LLMs for demand forecasting, for different type of optimization, because LLMs bring some knowledge about products from the world, which was not available before. So, for example, if we would like to understand which products, which products can drive each other, like what kind of them we would like to put in a bundle. So LLMs brings a lot of information to us, like ideas that we can check this and that, and afterwards we can double check these ideas with real sales statistics. So
Well, I
it's
think in the interest of time now, we have to conclude this fascinating presentation and discussion. I want to thank you, Lori, and your team, Max, Arkady, for this wonderful presentation and taking the time today to educate us and enlighten us about data science and AI in retail.
Thank you, Oliver and all. And again, any way we can help Virginia Tech, we're all for it. So just
When
let
you-
us know.